Today I'm announcing that I'll be stepping down as Premier.
Did you see that coming?
No, but I wanted it to happen. I wanted Mark McGowan to become that rarest of animals, the politician who goes out on their own terms. We all get carried out in a box. Paul Keating said that to Julia Gillard when she was knifed by Kevin Rudd back in 2013. I really didn't want Mark to endure that sort of inevitable fate. I wrote it, but I didn't believe he'd actually do it, pulling the pin on politics altogether.
Therefore, I'll be resigning as Premier and member for Rockingham.
It's not completely unprecedented.
Jacinda Ardern wasn't carried out in a box.
And so today I'm announcing that I will not be seeking re-election.
Locally, Jeff Gallop quit mid-term in 2005, though it wasn't entirely of his own volition. His hand was forced by that terrible depression he'd lived with.
So in the interests of my health and my family, I've decided to rethink my career.
Brian Burke genuinely went out on his own terms, told the Labor Party from the get-go that he'd be Premier for 5 years and would then resign. Nobody believed him when he said it, but he was true to his word.
I reckon nobody expected today's bombshell.
McGowan's been floating the idea with key lieutenants for a while, but it was a very tightly held secret, and so today's presser appeared sudden and left everyone wondering why.
What do you think?
I reckon the real reason is right here.
Sleepless nights, excess worry about things.
Sleepless nights and excessive worry. Sounds like the job was making him anxious, and when you have those thoughts, best stomp on them because they can snowball.
But the truth is, I'm tired. Extremely tired. In fact, I'm exhausted. The role of political leadership doesn't stop. It's relentless. And combined with the COVID years, it's taken it out of me.
It's hardly surprising if that is the case. He's been in fight or flight mode for 3 decades. His whole professional life has been one long argument. He was a lawyer in the Navy, argued for a living, then a Rockingham City Councillor, and we know that they can argue down there. And then into the bullpen of state parliament, parachuted straight into the opposition front bench, arguing.
PTA, the public, hold on, the opposition leader.
The man who beat COVID-19 is sick of having to fight.
I'm not naturally a combative person. I don't think I'm naturally a combative person. I'm not naturally confrontational. But every day I have to engage in argument and debate. That's political life. If you don't want to do that, don't get into politics. I'm tired of that endless confrontation.
Looking back now, it was clear during the state budget lock-up a couple of weeks ago that this was a man running on fumes.
We're investing a record $39 billion over the next 4 years in infrastructure projects that equip our state for the future.
Going through the motions, and when he looked ahead at the next 2 years before the election, all he could see was a mountain of shit.
And endless, being frustrated about things or issues or whatever it might be.
He's got the CCC on his party's arse over illegal use of electorate staff. Unions are about to go on strike everywhere. Energy policy is a total shambles. We have no idea how to keep the lights on when Collie shuts down. He's got a housing crisis that's intractable. Prison systems are bin fire. Health budget's out of control again. So's Metronet's. And despite all those massive surpluses, state debt's still rising.
So, who climbs Shit Mountain now?
Labor Party leadership contests are mathematical exercises. The positions of Premier, Deputy and who's in State Cabinet for that matter are determined by whichever faction has the numbers. Right now, by a long way, that's the left. They've got about 2/3 of the votes.
Come on, you lefties. Oh, what did I tell you?
So the next Premier and Deputy will be from the left. The two most senior MPs from that faction are Roger Cook and Amber Jade Sanderson. The only question is, who's number 1 and who's number 2?
You first.
No, you first.
Now, usually when members of a political party meet to elect a new leader, they have one thing on their mind. Who has the best chance of winning the next election?
It's all just a popularity contest.
That's not the case with this vote. The size of Labor's majority means Grover from Sesame Street would win the poll in 2025.
So the question on everybody's minds will be,
what's in it for me?
Don't be an asshole, you don't have principles.
Right now, as you watch this Up Late episode, Roger and Amber Jade are working the phones to Labor Party power brokers, promising key people certain positions, ministries, chairs of parliamentary committees, roles as parliamentary secretaries.
Who's your money on?
Ordinarily, I'd say Roger. He's a familiar face and his elevation plays well to the seamless transition, no reason to panic narrative that the Premier's Chief of Staff, Daniel Pastorelli, is desperate to propagate. But I reckon that Triple C inquiry we mentioned earlier will make some members of caucus nervous about voting for Rog. His office is front and centre of John McKechnie's investigation, and having a sitting Premier hauled into the Corruption and Crime Commission Star Chamber isn't a great look.
Not Mark's problem, though. What's next for him, do you reckon?
He's guaranteed a pension of $250,000 a year, so he'll do whatever the he wants. We know what he won't do, though.
But I'm not going to be one of those people that is always on the TV or calling up or harassing or any of those things. They all, they're a very experienced group.
Although we've heard that before.
There'll be no wrecking, no undermining and no sniping.
The real political winners out of all this aren't going to be Roger or Amber Jade. They're Basil Zemplis, whose chances of becoming Premier at some point just improved dramatically, and Sarah McGowan, who after 30 years can finally get the out of Rockingham.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.